through the verification, it went successfully, and then there's a whole bunch of data that returned, like the ID, the domain. You see there's a test. If it was live, you will see it. It says status, it was successful. Reference, here's the reference. There's an amount, remember, in Kobo, 360,000 Kobo. And then there's no message. We didn't pass any message from the form. We didn't pass any message. Show fields, I think it's at the bottom. It's in QR codes, show fields. Alright, we didn't pass no message. And if you're back here, you will see the date that was paid. You see, even the time zone, and this is the date it was created. This was when the date was it was created by 3:32, then paid 3 minutes later. See, the channel tells me that it's a card or cash transaction, tells me it's a card. Then currency, Nigerian Naira. This is NGN, Nigerian Naira. In your own case, might be US or whatever. IP address. This IP address that was used to make the payment. There's a whole bunch of stuff. For instance, there's log. How many attempts before the user was successful? Maybe they tried their card several times. Time spent, roughly 204. That's about 3 minutes or so, or 4 minutes. Then errors, whether it was made from mobile. So if somebody scanned the QR code and was trying to make the payment from their mobile app, paystack would tell us. This is just amazing. Then there's a history. Field these fields, card number, card expiry. So it knows the exact fields I filled up. It just collects information about everything. Attempted to pay, successfully paid. So it tracks the whole process of the payment. You understand? You fill a field, paystack tracks it and saves. You attempt to pay, payment goes successful, it tracks it, page. And then there is the whole authorization stuff. There's all these details and a whole lot. And all these things are tests. And the whole sub accounting is that you can split your payment. Let's say your merchant, we're not it's beyond the scope of this tutorial, but you should know that you can split the payment. So for instance, if we used it, what will happen is that part of the payment will go to the person that created the QR code, and part will go to we that own the platform in one go. We don't have to write any code for that. So you can do that, and a whole lot of things. So the thing is that we need to save all this data. So eventually we'll have to create a field on our database that will dump all this data. But then we need to extract just what we need to go ahead. Alright, we need to extract. Remember, we did some metadata and we're supposed to pass something. Look at key name and value. If we come here, we see that there is metadata, you see. And then we just had key name and value. These two things don't mean anything, but if we wanted to pass the user's details, we can do that. So we can make this optional to pass it only when the user is logged in. Alright, so we can do if we are logged in, auth guest. You remember what auth guest is? If we negate it, it means if the user is logged in, then we're doing this to avoid errors. Alright, so we can only pass metadata if the user is logged in. So we can now come here and say, for instance, we can say user underscore ID or buyer ID, buyer user ID, buyer user ID. Then we can work with the QR code of the currently logged in user. I think I should remove this. Alright, but what happens if the user is not logged in? That means we wouldn't know the user that is making the payment. There is no how we're going to tell the user that is making the payment, which means we will have to ask this user their email. So if we can just get the email of the user. So before we close, if you're getting this error, then let us quickly fix it. The error is saying it's pointing out like line 113. If we go to our form on QRCode show Blade, we go to the form, the paystack form. What's happening is here we are using this curly bracelet inside another curly bracelet. You never need to do that. So such bracelets shouldn't be there. So we remove this from quotes, and that's how it should be. Once we refresh now, the error should be gone. So alright, what we've noticed so far is that payment works well when you're logged in, but if a user is logged out, there's a problem, and even though the payment will work, we are not able to know which user made the payment. There's no way we can track the user because the user is logged out. You understand? So we need to be intuitive in the way we design this platform, so that the user gets to tell us their email before they proceed to making payment. You understand? If they can tell us their email before they make a payment, then I believe everything should work out well, which means after they have made the payment, we can use their email to get their user details and all, so that we can record the transaction for them.